veggies, the crunching and munching of cookies, the bubbles raising up the soda. God, just the thought of it makes my mouth water. So hello everyone, this is me Ankitha Rakshit, a 15-year-old from KRMPublicSchool, Chennai, India, hereby welcoming you all to taste my scrumptious talk. So before I start, I have a question for you all. Can anybody guess what is my secret recipe to happiness is? Yes, it's food. For me, good food is good mood. I love tasting new dishes. And this love for new dishes is what led to a tragedy, which is me trying to cook. Yes, my very first attempt was with rotis. Well, that was a disaster. Like, they were all burnt up and were mistaken to be model of scorched amoeba. And me being a very good daughter, you know what I did? I fed them to my parents. The plight of my parents was much worse. But such kind of trials and disasters is what led me to fall in love with food. You know, my grandmother used to always tell me this one thing, that she was the ruler of the kitchen. But this was in total contrast with what I see nowadays, which is my mom being accompanied by my dad most of the time. And sometimes we both do believe that he's a better cook. But this provoked a serious thought in my mind that modernization has made people realize that gender stereotypes has no role to play in the household chores or the kitchen. Most of my favorite restaurants too had male chefs. That is when I nullified my grandmother saying that women are the rulers of the kitchen. And my brother, being a huge food lover, broke all the norms and chose cooking as his passion. That is when it struck me that cooking isn't something to be kept within the four walls, but it is a whole different world of passion for many out there. As teenagers, we constantly hear this one word all the time. Any guesses? It's values. Values, values, values. God, it's annoying at a point. But while trying to find a way to inculcate these values in me, I found a very interesting way to do so. Which is, why can't we taste our values through food? Are you confused? Let me explain you with a short story. So there was this father and daughter duo who used to love attending events and parties. The father always used to tell his daughter to come eat early, but she never heard. She used to play around, she used to have fun, and at last when she used to come to have her food, there used to be no food left. She used to starve to bed. That is what taught her punctuality. That if you don't come early to eat your food, there won't be any food left. Like, isn't it great? The fact that not she's starving to bed, but the fact that she learned punctuality through food. Okay, so I have a question. How many of you, like, say it honestly, how many of you love your lunch hour more than any other subject does? Honest answers, huh? Most of you do, right? It's the best part of our one of the best part of our student life. But sharing is something most of our siblings won't agree to. Because at home, sharing leads to quarreling. But seriously guys, I still strongly believe that sharing is caring. And me being a devotee of God, I like visiting temples most of the time. And the best part is the prasadam. I love putting in my words in God's ears, and the way He replies to them is my favorite. On asking many people, like I was confused why are we given prasadams, and on asking many people about it, most of them concluded saying that prasadam is a way of blessing us devotees through blessed eatables. Isn't that great? Like, we don't have to belong to a specific origin to taste God's love and affection, right? How many of you can relate to this situation of mine that our so-called well-wishers love poking their nose in our life? That is by asking lean people that, why don't you eat more food? Aren't you being fed at home? And to stout people that, I think you should reduce your diet. I think you should eat less. But I would like to answer all these well-wishers of us through a survey. On conducting a survey of nearly 100 people, most of them concluded saying that the reason behind their physical appearance is due to their genetics. 45% of them said that it's due to food and 55% of them said that it's due to genetics. Well, this clearly shows that food doesn't determine our physical appearance. And seriously guys, it's high time we understand that body shaming isn't something funny or something small. It can affect a person very seriously. A friend of mine, she was constantly being bullied for being fat. She started isolating herself from everyone. She faced severe mental and physical health issues, and it took her a lot of time to come out of the trauma. So I do hope that you guys understand that it's not something funny. And there's also one thing that scares me a lot. It's the amount of food we waste. We love throwing big fat weddings. But what we don't realize is the amount of food we waste. A survey by United Nations Environment Program Food Report Index states that nearly 40% of the food in weddings are being wasted. You might think it's just 40%, it's just a small number. But no, it's a huge amount of food that we waste. It can be given to the needy, to the poor. We can help them rather than wasting it. Okay, let's not go so deep and serious. Did you know that food can help us develop our interpersonal skills, our motor skills, and help us connect with people? I've experienced this myself, that being a part of busy schedule every day, we don't find enough time to spend with our family. Most of you would feel that, right? But our dinner table never fails us. We have our own quality time during our dinner. The silly sibling fights is what brings joy to our parents' face. And I'll always say this, that without my brother, my life would be filled with boredom. No. Okay. So, motor skills, as I said, I was always fed smashed food when I was a kid. Most of you were fed smashed food. But I came across this very funny video in social media that a little kid was getting all messy while playing with solid food. I was curious, why? Later, I came across a research by Center of Disease Control and Prevention stating that giving solid food to 12-month-old kids can develop their motor skills. Isn't that interesting? Wow. It doesn't end with only developing our motor skills or interpersonal skills. Food helps us. I'm not going to reveal it so soon. I want to make you guys tempt and be curious to know what it is. There's this one food that has taken over my taste buds. Any guesses? Yes, it's Pani Puri. Okay. Most of you here in the audience love Pani Puri, right? How many of you do? Most of you do, right? Okay. So Pani Puri was first originated from Bihar. And what surprises me the most is the ratio of people who love eating it. It's not only us Indians, but even when foreigners come to India to visit for tourism, they love eating our street food. You know, in the journey of eating Pani Puri, what I realized was, I'm not only tasting a food, but I'm also tasting a different culture. A friend of mine who is very much introverted, she once shared me something during our lunch break, which was a bowl of rasgulla. Me being a huge sweet lover and a fellow Bengali, how could I ever say no to it? I accepted it and I told her about the origin of the sweet, which was West Bengal. Then she shared me about her favorite food and the origin of it. This way, we fostered our friendship and learnt about each other's culture. Isn't that a great way to learn about a different culture? Now that we are talking about culture, there's a type of food that's been eaten like from a very long time. From many centuries, we follow this, which is the Sattvic food. Sattvic food consists of vegetarian ingredients, fruits, vegetables, grains, grams, and Sattvic food helps to keep our mental peace well. It helps us to be healthy. I hope that we still follow this so that we can be healthy. Medicines. Don't be afraid that I'm talking about medicines. Food helps us get medicinal values through it, which is food consists high medicinal values. Like we are given turmeric milk when we have cold. Any guesses why it's specifically turmeric milk and nothing else? That's because the turmeric in it helps to kill the bacteria and it works as an antibiotic. And there's this one herbal drink which we hate the most. The kashayam. Well, even though we hate it, it has high medicinal values. The ginger in it cuts down bloating, the cardamom helps in preventing digestive problems, and the cinnamon kills the bacteria. Isn't it an eye-opener to know that it consists of such high medicinal values? You know, food doesn't only give us medicinal values, but it also helps us to solve conflicts. I read this story in my 8th grade saying the best Christmas present in world by Michael Morpurgo. The writer in it presents a scenario of a war field where the soldiers were discussing on how to resolve the war through games. I totally agree. Why not set up dinner tables with our rivalry countries rather than fighting with them? Why not let forks and spoons play their roles instead of weapons? Why not build banana plantains rather than thorns, boundaries of thorns? So I hope we all stay lusciously united. Okay. How many of you here in the crowd are sports person? How many of you? Okay. Being a sports person, the first thing that I was handed was the diet chart. It wasn't some random diet chart, but it was a perfectly balanced diet chart. That is, it consists of food which are high in proteins, moderate in carbohydrates, and low in fat. The protein helps us to build our muscles stronger. The carbohydrate works as fuel, and even the fat gives us fuel during intense workout sessions. With this, we can clearly understand that how food is an inevitable part of our life and that it brings us all together. Food transcends language barriers, societal boundaries, cultural differences. We foster friendships and relationships through savoring and flavoring different tasting flavors. At last, I would like to end with a short poem. Boiling rice, sticking together, wanting to be with one another, bringing pepper and salt together, making the dinner table even more better. The flame was still on the stove, while the sound of laughter filled around. Crunching and munching and talking and learning, just like boiled rice sticking together. Thank you.